بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we continue going over this tremendous book by the Fadilatul Shaykh Al-Allama Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan Hafidhahullah Ta'ala. We have reached the third section of this particular chapter, and it is a section that is very important, as all of the sections are important, but it may not necessarily be that in which you hear every day. So I really want the brothers, inshallah ta'ala, and those who are listening to pay close attention, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala, to what the Shaykh is going to mention. The Shaykh, he says, Al-Fasl al-Thalith, the third section, Fit Tashri', is dealing with legislation. It's dealing with legislation. Now, the Shaykh, he says, At-Tashri' haqqun lillah, that tashri', legislating, then this is a right that belongs to Allah. Lillahi ta'ala, is a right that belongs to Allah, the Most High. Now, so again, legislating laws, this is a right that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh, he says, wal murad bi tashri', and that which is intended and meant by a tashri' ma yunazziluhu Allah li'ibadihi min al-minhaj alladhi yasiruna alayhi fil aqaid wal mu'amalat wa ghayriha. The Shaykh, he says, then it is that what is intended by it is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he sends down to his slaves as a methodology on which they are to act in accordance to, and to work upon or tread upon, act in accordance to, from beliefs, and from the way they interact, and other than that, from the beliefs and the way they should interact, and other than that. Now, one will begin to see from this standpoint that those things in which are to shape our understandings and our outlook, those things that will shape our beliefs, views and values, then it is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down, al-Islam. Now, this is what shapes our views, this is what shapes our values, this is what shapes our beliefs, this is what shapes the manner that we interact, al-Islam. And the Shaykh, he says, وَمِن ذَلِكَ التَّحْلِيل وَالتَّحْرِيم, and from this from the legislation is the affair of those things that are permissible and that which is impermissible. That which is permissible and that which is impermissible, then we know this by way of what? By way of al-Islam. Something being halal or haram is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed us that is halal and haram. Is what the Prophet ﷺ has informed us is halal and haram. Like this. Naam. These are things that are what? The right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh says, فَلَيْسَ لِأَحَدٍ أَن يَحِلَّ إِلَّا مَا أَحَلَّهُ اللَّهُ. So it is not for anyone to deem something to be permissible and to consider something permissible or see something as being permissible except that which Allah has made permissible. Now, so when it comes to an issue, we look at it from this standpoint. And then you will find from this, or one may gather from this, or better see from this, how democracy is kufr. How democracy is kufr. Because what we deem to be halal is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made halal. So for an example, which shows you that democracy is the total opposite of this, because in democracy they go by what? Claimingly, by what the majority say. By what the majority say. Right? Or by those representatives who have been picked and chosen and selected and elected by the majority, what they say. This is how democracy works. So for example, here in this country, any type of malt liquor beverage, hard liquor, soft liquor, whatever it may be, liquor, in this country is deemed as being what? Legal or illegal? In this country, what is it? It's legal, right? But is it legal in reality? No. No. Now there's a phenomenon that's going around inside of some of the states, and it is gathering one by one, where they see same-sex marriage as being legal or illegal. Legal. But is such a filthy thing legal? No, it's illegal. Ma'am. So we understand by way of this that what this is an illustration to us, which shows us that democracy is kufr. Democracy is kufr. And when one will understand and look at such a system, then he will realize that that system has nothing to offer the Muslims. Nothing. It has nothing to offer the Muslims whatsoever. And one can add to that communism and socialism and whatever, all of these things that have nothing to offer the Muslims. Because alhamdulillah, we have our legislation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore the Muslim, he has to deem as being halal that which Allah has made halal. That's it. Naam. Well, likewise, لا يحرم إلا ما حرمه الله. And we do not deem as being impermissible except that which Allah has made impermissible. So we consider alcohol and liquor to be what? Impermissible. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it impermissible. We see same-sex marriage as being impermissible. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it what? Impermissible. So with us, these things are never a question. They put it on the ballot. Same-sex marriage, yes or no? It's not even a question. Allah has made it impermissible. It's impermissible. It's haram. It's always haram. Period. Liquor, yes or no? Right? Because there was a time in America where they had prohibition, right? And you couldn't buy liquor or hard liquors or whatever. Nah? And then they had whatever they had, and then they took it back, and then you could buy it. But as far as the Muslim in Islam, it's always haram. Always. Always. We're not moved by anything Congress may say, anything whoever may say. We're not moved by this. Any parliament, we're not moved by these things. Because what? Because what we see as being halal and haram is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made halal and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram. this aspect is something that is very important. As Sheikh Muhammad Aman al-Jami, rahimahullah ta'ala, he used to point out and draw his Muslims' attention to this fact, that this aspect is a very important aspect of Tawheed. It's a very important aspect of Tawheed. So you find that Sheikh Fawzan, hafidhahullah ta'ala, inside of his kitab Aqeedatut Tawheed, he brings this chapter, because it's a very important aspect of Tawheed that sometimes people, they neglect, or they overlook, or they don't realize its connection to Tawheed. They don't realize its connection to Tawheed. Naam. قال الله تعالى, Allah Ta'ala, He says, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُوا أَلْسِنَتَكُمْ وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُوا أَلْسِنَتُكُمْ الْكَذِبِ هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا حَرَامٌ لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبِ. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and do not put forward with your tongues. Do not bring forth a lie with your tongues. Naam. I want you to listen to this ayah. وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُوا أَلْسِنَتُكُمْ الْكَذِبِ. And do not bring forth with your tongues. Do not invent with your tongues by saying a lie. How is the lie bring forth with the tongue? Naam. Let me see how they translate this. There you go. Wait. How does the tongue put forth a lie? How does the tongue put forth this kadhib? How does it put forth this lie? By saying what? هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا حَرَامٌ. By saying this is permissible and this thing is not permissible. لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبِ. Lying about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that what? That if an individual says that something is halal or something is haram, they deem as being permissible or impermissible, legal or illegal, and their frame of reference in doing such is not the legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then these individuals are doing what? They are inventing a lie against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are lying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see how serious this is? Huh? Allah ta'ala, He's informing us that those who put forth this lie with their tongues by saying this is permissible, that thing not permissible, what? In order to invent a lie against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are lying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is something that is tremendous. It's not light, it's something that is very tremendous. قال الله تعالى, Allah Ta'ala, and this ayah here can be found in Surah Yunus, in Surah Nahl, and it's verse 116. Allah Ta'ala, He says in Surah Yunus, in verse 59, قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ مِنْ رِزْقٍ فَجَعَلْتُمْ مِنْهُ حَرَامًا وَحَلَالًا. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and say to them, have you not seen that which Allah has sent down to you from provisions? Have you not seen what Allah has sent down to you from provisions? جَعَلْتُمْ مِنْهُ, you all have made from it haraman wa halalan. You all have declared that these things are haram and those things are halal. Have declared this from where? From themselves. They have said these things without any textual proof, without any evidence, but from their own intellectual pursuits and deductions and so on and so forth. They have said these things are haram and these things are halal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, قُلْ Allahu adina lakum. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and say to them, has Allah permitted you to do this? Has Allah permitted you to do this? Has Allah permitted you to say that this thing is haram and that thing is halal? Has Allah permitted you to say that this thing is permissible and that thing is impermissible? Has Allah allowed you and permitted you to say and declare that this thing is lawful and that is unlawful, this thing is legal and that is illegal? Has Allah permitted you to do that? Allah Ta'ala goes on and He says, Am ala Allahi taftarun. Or are you inventing a lie against Allah? Or are you inventing a lie against Allah? When one sees and reflects upon the wording inside of these two verses in which we mentioned, he will see that they are very strongly worded. Because this is a very serious affair. An affair that unfortunately a lot of people, they don't take serious. They're quick to say, oh no, you can't do that, or you can do this. This is okay, that's not okay. That's permissible, this is not permissible. That's halal, that's haram. People are quick to say this. But then when you request them or you ask them, what's your dalil for saying that? They have no. Mafi. People are quick to say this thing is okay, you should view it as being acceptable, you should tolerate it, or this thing is not tolerable, and so on and so forth, based upon what? As Muslims, our whole way that we live our lives should be sami'na wa ata'na. We hear and we obey. Right? One of the things that we benefit from that is that what? Is that if you hear and obey, you can't make a move until after you have heard, and then now you could obey. Because al-ilm qabl qawli wal amal. Knowledge precedes statements and actions. Right? Because how else can we hear and obey? The command has to come to us first, and we know about it, then we obey it. So before we know, we stop. Is this thing halal or haram? We stop until we know the ruling of Allah and His Messenger. Then once we know the ruling of Allah and His Messenger, now we can answer. Allah has made this thing halal. Allah has made this thing haram. Now we can answer. Now we can speak. But until we know the ruling of Allah and His Messenger, we have to what? We have to stop. We have to stop and say, I don't know. I don't know. We have to stop. Naam. And this is something that is important. It is like what we were talking about just yesterday. How people are so quick. And the real life incident had came up from the barbecue we had on the last Eid. You remember? Yeah. There was a brother who came and he telling everyone, this cheese is haram. Ya Salaam. He told everyone the cheese is haram. And when it was tried to reason with the brother, he said no, it's haram, and he just threw it out. Right? But based upon what? Based upon his own deduction, based upon reading ingredients. Based upon his own deduction, based upon reading ingredients. Of which he couldn't even clearly explain what was what. Everything was a maybe. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. Right? As opposed to stopping and waiting before making a judgment. As opposed to stopping and waiting before making a judgment. Seeking out the necessary steps. Calling the ulama, asking them, what is the ruling of such? So he can get a verdict from the book and the sunnah. As opposed to doing that, no, he went straight to the end of the affair. He made the ruling. That's what it is. It's haram. That's it. Throw it in the garbage. But this is not how we ought to be. If we don't know about something, then what should we do in that situation? Right? What would be the proper thing to do in that situation? The cheese comes, we don't know. Right? For whatever reason. So what do? We stop. We don't call it this, we don't call it that. We stop. We find out the necessary information. And then we proceed. You follow what I mean? We don't know, so we stop. I'm not telling you don't know, so just eat it. No, you don't know, so stop. You have doubt, stop. Ask the ulama. But what you don't do is while you're in a state of not knowing, make a ruling and say, it's this or it's that. Because you don't know. So you have nothing in which to substantiate what you're saying. So you wait till you get the ruling. And then you proceed to say this or that. Does that make sense? No. And just, Juyaanee, for those who maybe are curious, the brother was wrong. Cheese was fine. There's nothing wrong with the cheese. It was fine. It's just based upon his thinking or whatever, he just threw it out. Allah musta'an. Ala kulli hal, this affair is extremely great. It's not a light affair. It's not light. To draw your attention to the reality of this affair, and saying things are halal and saying things are haram, and speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with no knowledge, talking about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with no knowledge, is a tremendous affair. Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions, he says, قَدْ حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ سبحانه وتعالى قد حرم الله سبحانه القول عليه بغير علم. Allah Ta'ala, He has made impermissible to speak about Him without knowledge. Na'am, and this is in what? In giving fatwa and in giving judgments. Allah Ta'ala has made it haram to speak without knowledge. Right? Passing a fatwa. This is not for us to pass fatwa. We ask the ulama if we don't know. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who know if you don't know. Ask the ulama if you don't know. We don't make fatwa. We don't give judgments, rulings. This is for the ulama, for Ahl al-Ilm. Because they are the ones who are deserving to do that, because they're going to speak with what? With the book and the sunnah. The book and the sunnah. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made it haram for a person to give a fatwa or to give a ruling with no knowledge. Right? And so on and so forth. So we have to be wary of these guys that we find online, like Mufti Mink or whatever his name is, and all of these very outlandish characters, because you find it is giving fatwa left and right bila ilm, with no knowledge, just kalam, just talking, no knowledge, talking left and right. And this is not the way. It's not the way of Ahl al-Ilm, not the way of the people of knowledge to just be talking from their own self. No, because they understand the gravity of this situation. But listen, Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, because after you hear this, then you can look in light and see what, and see where these internet personalities, where they really stand. And that is where they should be standing by themselves. They should be abandoned, these ones, the ones like this guy and his like. Huh? What's his name? What's this guy? Estes, Yusuf Estes, and the like. These people, abandon these people. Every time he's asked a question, a man got an answer. Even though it's the wrong answer, he open his mouth, he's saying something. You don't find these people, oh, I don't know. Ask the ulama. They always got an answer. Yeah, Salaam. You should be wary of people like this. No ilm, you always got an answer. People went to Imam Malik, he kept saying, la adri, but this guy know everything. Come on. This guy answered every question thrown at him. Come on. Ala kulli hal, these people are the people of bid'ah, and that's enough to make us stay away. But to reinforce and to push us further and to give us more clarity, it's not permissible to speak about Allah's deen with no knowledge. Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he says about speaking about Allah with no knowledge, وَجَعَلَهُ مِنْ أَعْظَمِ al-muharramat, that Allah has made speaking about His deen without knowledge from the greatest sin. The greatest sin. The greatest sin. And it is unfortunate that we live in a time where so many people fall into this great sin. How many people out there in internet forums and right inside bloggers and so on and so forth speaking about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then they'll end it off, or they'll start it off with, well, I think and I feel, in my opinion, so on and so forth. No one cares of your opinion. No one cares what you think. No one cares what you feel. This is Allah's deen. We don't care what your opinion don't mean nothing to us. So why care what you think? Well, I feel. Or they'll have the audacity to say, well, I'm not a scholar, I don't know much about Islam. Boy, you understand how big of a word but is? B-U-T, 3 little letters. But the implication, subhanAllah, because what comes behind it is tremendous. It flipped the script on everything. I'm not a scholar, but then he start acting like he a scholar, talking, giving all kinds of opinions. After he have acknowledged, I'm just a common person. Well, I never studied nowhere, but I think, I feel. And then they start opening their mouth about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is wrong with these people? They can't keep quiet. Why they think they gotta put their fingers on the keyboard and contribute what? You don't have any knowledge, not contributing anything. Ya Salaam, when it comes to dunya stuff, you don't find people being as foolish. You don't find people being foolish, and you don't find people tolerating their foolishness. So I don't understand why it's being tolerated, why people think it's tolerable inside the deen of al-Islam. When it comes to any type of science, right? You don't find someone typing anything and then any scientific journal would is accepted. Because at first, before they even give your what you have written any type of credence, they want to know, what are your credentials? What are your credentials? Before they even give it consideration, before it can even go into the scientific journal, before it can even be published in a scientific journal, what are your credentials? Do you think somebody just sitting at home and decide he want to start blogging and going to start writing stuff about medicine, and this is what goes on in the medical science, and I think this theory about, whatever, cancer research or whatever, here, put it in your journal. Why? Because I think and I feel. He'll be laughed out the door. No, you should put it in the journal. Why? I think and I feel. I think this is really a good way to treat cancer. Based on what? You didn't even graduate high school. Based on what? Sahulillah. Now you have people and they come and they speak about that which is even greater than any cancer research, greater than AIDS research, greater than whatever, scientific, whatever, greater than all this type of stuff. And it's okay for them to say, I think and I feel. Everybody feels they have the right to speak about Allah Ta'ala's deen based upon what? Because you got fingers that can hit a keyboard? Because you got a tongue that don't know how to shut up? This is a calamity of the time we living in right now. Ala kullin, this is from the greatest of the things that are haram. The greatest of the things that are haram. The Shaykh, he says, bal, rather, not just the greatest of the, or the greatest of the things that are haram, the Shaykh, he says, bal ja'alahu fi al-martaba al-ulya minha. But rather Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has made it in the greatest level of the haram things. Not just that it's a big haram, but it is from the greatest level of the things that are haram. From the worst things. The worst. قال الله تعالى, Allah Ta'ala, He says, قل إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم والبغي بغير الحق وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. This ayah, it can be found in Surah Al-A'raf. It can be found in Surah Al-A'raf, in its verse 33. Naam. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 33. If the brothers have, inshallah, everyone grab a mushaf. I want you to follow along. A'raf 33. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says what means. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the things that my Lord has indeed forbidden. The things that my Lord has indeed forbidden. Number 1, al-fawahish. Al-fawahish. Great, evil, lewd type of sins. Like zina, and so on and so forth. Like fornication, adultery, and so on and so forth. Now, that's number 1. You with me? But and we know how bad it is, right? We know how bad that is. It's despicable. It goes on and says whether committed openly or secretly. Whether it's committed openly or secretly. It's all the same. It's haram. Number 2, sin. Al-ithm is number 2. Al-ithm is number 2. And this is sins of all kinds. Al-ithm meaning sins of all kinds. Number 3, wal-baghi bighayri al-haqq. Number 3 is unrighteous oppression. It's to oppress people. And everybody knows it's bad, right? To oppress people. This is something that is bad. It's awful. It is despicable. Number 4, وَأَن تُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ سُلْطَانًا. Number 4, to associate partners with Allah, which He has given no authority to do. To associate partners with Allah, which He has given no authority. This is number 4. And then number 5, أن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. Number 5 is to say about Allah that which you don't know. To say about Allah that which you don't know. This is number 5. Right? Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he says فرتب المحرمات, Allah has made the muharramat into levels, maratib. He has made them into levels, right? وَبَدَأَ بِأَسْهَلِهَا, and that Allah has started with the lightest of them. Has started with what? The lightest of them. So I want you to look back to the list now, because the first one is which one? What's the first one? Al-fawahish, which is what? Great evil sins, like like fornication, adultery, and so on and so forth. So fawahish is referring to those illicit sexual type of sins, like fornication, adultery, and the like. It's fawahish, right? But so Imam Ibn Qayyim is saying that this is what? The lightest one on the list. Because this list, it goes from less to worse. It goes from the least of them to the worst of them. You with me? All that? What's next? Al-ithm. No, before al-baghi is what? Al-ithm. Sins. Right? But so sins of all kinds, all sorts. It's next on the list. Right. No, before that one. This one is next on the list, so this one is
number 2.
Right, number 2 is what? Worse than number 1. But And then Allah Ta'ala says, and baghi, right? And then we have oppression. Oppression. So now number 3 is worse than what? 2 and 1. Because it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And what's number 4? Shirk. Now, to associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is number 4. And we know that shirk is what? It's the greatest sin. It's the worst sin. However, here in this ayah, Allah Ta'ala, He brings after shirk what? To speak about Allah with no ilm. He brings this what? After shirk, which is an indication that what? In this context is worse than shirk. In this context is worse than shirk. The ulama from them, Shaykh Rabi' hafidhullah ta'ala, he mentions and commenting on this ayah, and others in the ulama, they mention commenting on this ayah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah, He has made speaking about Him without knowledge worse than shirk, because it is the origin of shirk. Shirk came about because of people speaking about Allah with no knowledge. You follow? So from that standpoint, it's worse because it is that which is the origin of shirk. So when one reflects on this ayah here, in the reality, then he sees how tremendous it is to speak about Allah without knowledge. Speaking about Allah Ta'ala with no knowledge is to what? To lie upon Allah. Is to lie upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who wants to be the one who lies upon his Lord? Jalla wa ala. That's something that is serious. Wa alaikum assalam. What do you think is going to be the end result of someone who lies upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is serious. So now maybe we understand a little more now why the ayat come in such a severe wording to warn the people not to lie upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because what? The tashri', the legislation, making of laws, what's halal, what's haram, what's acceptable, not acceptable, what we believe in, what we don't believe in, so on and so forth, is what is according to what Allah has sent down. So we only speak with that. That's it. فقال العلامة الشيخ فوزان حفظه الله تعالى, he says فقد نهى الله عن التحليل والتحريم بدون دليل من الكتاب والسنة. He said, so Allah has made it prohibited to consider and deem something as being halal or haram, except that you have a proof from the book and from the sunnah. وأخبر أن ذلك من كذب على الله, and he has informed us that speaking about Allah without a proof and evidence, then it is to lie upon Allah. وأخبر سبحانه أن من أوجب شيئا أو حرم شيئا من غير دليل فقد جعل نفسه شريكا لله تعالى فيما هو من خصائصه. And everyone has to understand this point, so you can see how it's connected to a Tawheed. He says, and Allah Ta'ala has also informed us that the one who makes something binding, or he makes something impermissible without any proof or evidence, then in essence what they have done is that they have made themselves a partner with Allah in that which is specific to Allah. Because only Allah tells us what's halal and what's haram. Right? By this person coming, not looking at the kitab, not looking at the sunnah, but taking upon himself to say what's halal and haram, he has made himself a partner with Allah Ta'ala in this regard. Now is that something light, or that's something that's tremendous? Now you see why these people are so evil. Now you see why the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah, well now you see why it is the methodology of Al-Islam. It is the methodology that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He sent down to His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the people upon the truth are to stay away from the people upon falsehood, period. We are to stay away from the people upon falsehood, period. Don't sit with them. Don't sit with them. Period. Because these people are upon great evil. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, "Kulluha fin nari illa wahida." All of them in the fire except for one. Because of what they doing, they deserve to go to hell. Why you want to sit around a bunch of people who the Prophet ﷺ has said is deserving to go to hell? Because of what? Because of the bid'ah that they doing. You want to sit around a bunch of people deserving to go to hell? You want to do that? Of course the answer is no. You don't want to. You want to sit around a bunch of crackheads, would you? Huh? I'm asking you. Would you sit around a bunch of junkies, bunch of crackheads, bunch of winos? You sit around them? Huh? No. Bunch of hitmen for the mob. You want to sit around and hang out with them? Huh? Bunch of prostitutes. You want to chill on the corner with them? No. But the Mu'tadi is worse. The Mu'tadi is worse than the hitman. The Mu'tadi, he's worse than a prostitute. The Mu'tadi, he's worse than a drug dealer. The Mu'tadi, he's worse than a junkie. He's worse than the alcoholics. He's worse. So why people want to be around the Mu'tadi? It's okay, brother. These tabligis is really nice. I'm just going to go and eat with them. It's okay, brother. These people, these Takfiri, Ikhwani people, they got a really nice masjid, really nice rug. It's comfortable in there. So I'm going to go and pray with them and be with them. I'm going to go to the Eid with them. That's okay, brother. These guys from Azhar, these Ash'ari guys, I like their little red and white headgear. I'm going to go hang out with them. I'm not going to take what they saying though. We just going to the store together. Ya Salaam. Ya Salaam. And you wonder why the ulama, they would say, I'd rather eat with a Jew and a Christian than a person of innovation. Why? Because a person of innovation, he's more dangerous than a Jew or Christian. He's more dangerous upon your deen than a Jew or Christian. Because if the Jew come to you and he start talking about what he read in the Torah, is that going to affect you? You going to be moved by that? No. The Christian come and he telling you his favorite Psalms, you going to be affected by that? No. But the Mu'tadi, he going to come now and want to show you his sheikh on YouTube, who's a dynamic speaker. But the whole time he twisting the meaning of the ayat, twisting the meaning of the ahadith, putting stuff in the wrong place, calling to falsehood, so on and so forth. Does the Qur'an move you? Huh? I'm asking you, does it move you? No. Yeah. The hadith, does that move you? Does that grab your attention and move you, change your life? Yes. So you want to put yourself in danger and jeopardy by opening your ear to Mubtadi' who may use the ayah in the wrong way, who may use a hadith in the wrong way? Now you all souped up about something and going in the wrong direction because you said, but he recited a verse, brother, but he didn't use it right. He recited a hadith, brother, but he brought it out of context. That's why they're dangerous. That's why they're dangerous, because it's not easy for the Muslim to say, walk away from hearing an ayah, hearing a hadith, and so on and so forth. It grabs your attention. Right? Even when you ain't trying to listen, you hear? That's why they're dangerous, because they're going to bring it outside its context. Because they want you to be like them. They want to affect you what they have been affected with. This is why they're dangerous. Why the ulama from the Salaf, when they wanted to recite to them a verse or recite to them a hadith, they would say no. Not even a half a verse. I don't want to hear nothing from you. Allah said, no, be quiet. Don't finish. The Prophet said, no, don't finish. I don't want to hear nothing else from you. Don't say no hadith to me. Don't say no ayat to me. Don't say it. I don't want to hear from you. Get out of here. If you don't leave, we leaving. We don't want to be around you. That's dangerous, because they're dangerous. So with their danger, and we see from their danger, what they fall into is that they're doing this all the time, speaking about Allah's deen with no dalil. Because does bid'ah have a dalil? Huh? Does bid'ah have a dalil? No. So a person calling you to do bid'ah is a person calling you to do something with what? No dalil. You got to come out, brother. Pick one. 3 days, a month, 40 days. Pick one. You got to pick one. Who said I got to pick one? It's binding now. It's wajib for me to pick one. But that's how they come at you, right? Pick one. You done made up something totally made up inside the deen, and now you're making it binding on people. Pick what? What is that person doing? What is he doing? He's speaking about Allah's deen with what? With no ilm. So now you want to hang around a person that's doing that? SubhanAllah. You better off hang around the drug dealers. Really? You hang around the drug dealers, right? What's the worst happen to you? You get locked up. They catch you on conspiracy for whatever, right? You get locked up. Okay, that's the worst that happen to you, right? You get locked up. You hang around the Mubtadi', what's the worst happen to you? You go to hell. If given a choice, which one you prefer? Jail all day long. Not a question. Right or wrong? Alright, so whose company is worse? Whose company is worse then? The Mubtadi', Ahlul Bid'ah. That company is worse. And there's no way you can spin that to make it seem like it's not. No, their company is worse. Hang around a drug dealer, worse happen, you get locked up. Okay. Hang around a Mubtadi', hellfire. These people, they're evil individuals. Ala kullin, that one who's speaking about Allah Ta'ala's deen, saying this halal, this haram, you have to do this, you can't do that, and so on and so forth, then this is tantamount to them making themselves a partner with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in that which is specific to Him, Allah Jalla wa Ala. That's serious. The Shaykh Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he says, وَهُوَ تَشْرِيعٌ, that which is specific to Allah Ta'ala, then it is tashri'. This is in legislating things. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى, Allah Ta'ala, he says, أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء, or do they have partners? The person say, what should that live? A person, he's saying this halal, haram is like him being making himself a partner with Allah. Well, what should that live for that? Because the person say, that's a strong statement. What should that live for that, brother? They go to that live right here. Allah Ta'ala says, أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء شَرَعُوا لَهُمْ, do they have partners who legislate for them? شَرَعُوا لَهُمْ مِنَ الدِّينِ, who legislate for them from the religion? Do they have partners? Meaning what? Partners along with Allah Ta'ala who legislate for them from the deen? مَا لَمْ يَأْذَنْ بِهِ, that which He has not allowed. Who is the He? Allah. Allah Ta'ala, He says, مَا لَمْ يَأْذَنْ بِهِ اللَّهِ, do they have partners who have legislated things in the religion that Allah has not allowed? That Allah has not allowed? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah, and it can be found in Surah Ash-Shura, and it's verse 21. So Allah Jalla wa Ala, He informs us here that doing this is what tantamount of taking partners along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now when one looks at democracy, what is democracy? It is the rule of the people by the people. That's democracy, right or wrong? According to their definition. The rule of the people by who? By the people. That means who make the laws in a democratic society? The people. So, how can such a way be Islamic? How is that possible? But yet you have these modernists, ignoramuses, who will say that democracy is Islamic. How? In actuality, it is what? It is the exact opposite. So if Islam is Islam, then what's the opposite of al-Islam? Kufr. So this is why Shaykh Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala says, Demokratiya kufr. That democracy is kufr. You understand? See, this gives us a little more understanding now of the statement of the ulama. Because maybe a person heard that statement from Shaykh Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala, Imam al-Wadi'i, and rahmatullah alayh, and he didn't fully understand. Well, how does Shaykh say democracy is kufr? But when you examine it, what else could it be? Right? When you examine it, what else could it? It's not Islam. So therefore, what is it? It's kufr. Allah Ta'ala didn't send down democracy, right? That right there is enough for us to know we don't need it. We don't need it. Not to mention, I mean, that's from a standpoint. We don't need it. Allah didn't send it down. We don't need it. It's kufr. We don't need it. But for those who are that deluded and that tricked and confused, what has democracy done for the societies who've adopted it? What did democracy do to Greece? Not much, huh? Look where they at. What did democracy do to the old Roman Empire? Where they at? Caesar and them. Where they at? This is not the solution. It didn't work then. It was supposed to work now. It's not the solution. It's not the solution. The solution is what? Is Islam. That which Allah Ta'ala revealed. That's the solution. For who? For just the Muslims? No. For all mankind. For the whole world. What'll rectify the world? Islam. That's it. What else? Nothing else. Only Islam. That's what's going to rectify the whole world. Islam. That's it. That's it. Ala kulli hal, this sheds some light. This shows us now how evil democracy is. How evil it is. The Shaykh, he says, فَمَنْ أَطَاعَ هَذَا مُشَرِّعْ دون الله وهو يعلم بذلك ووافقه على فعله فقد أشرك مع الله. See, this is why it comes inside of what? The discussion of Tawheed is linked to Tawheed. The Shaykh, he says, because the one who he obeys, this person who has legislated other than Allah, he obeys this person who legislated, right? And he knows that what this person is saying is not in accordance with what Allah has revealed, and he agrees with this man's actions. The Shaykh, he says, then verily he has committed shirk with Allah. I want to say this again. If a person agrees with and he follows a legislation that he knows is not from Allah, then he has committed shirk with Allah Jalla wa ala. So now how dangerous is it to be one who is an advocate for laws that are not that which Allah Ta'ala have revealed? How much more dangerous now those who's an advocate to people to listen to this one who's trying to legislate other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is that a little bit dangerous or a lot dangerous? It's a lot dangerous. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Because this is from the ways that people, they make shirk as it relates to obedience. Allah Ta'ala, he says, and this ayah can be found in Surah Al-An'am, in this verse 121, which shows us this, that if you listen to what these ones are saying, and they're giving you legislation, and you obey them in that, if you listen to them, Allah Ta'ala, he says, وَإِن أَطَعْتُمُوهُمْ إِنَّكُمْ لَمُشْرِكُونَ. And if you were to obey them, then verily you are polytheist. Verily you are polytheist. Now, the Shaykh, he says, يعني الذين يحلون ما حرم الله من الميتات ومن أطاعهم في ذلك فهو مشرك. The Shaykh, he said, this means that the ones who listen to those who make permissible that which Allah has made impermissible from the dead things, whoever obeys them in that, then he is a polytheist. He's a mushrik. نعم. كما أخبر سبحانه أن من أطاع الأحبار ورهبان في التحريم ما حرم الله وتحريم ما حل الله فقد اتخذهم أربابا من دون الله. He said, just as Allah Ta'ala, he has made it clear and he has informed us that those who obey the monks and the rabbis in deeming things to be permissible that Allah has made impermissible, or deeming things to be impermissible from that which Allah has made permissible, then verily they have taken them as lords along with Allah. They have taken them as lords along with Allah Jalla wa ala. What's the dalil for this? The dalil can be found in Surah At-Tawbah in its verse 31, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Allah ta'ala, He says, اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله. He says, and they have taken their monks and their rabbis as lords other than Allah. والمسيح ابن مريم, and likewise they have taken the Messiah, the son of Mary, as a lord other than Allah. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا إِلَهًا وَاحِدًا, and they were only commanded to worship one ilah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La ilaha illahu, nothing has the right to be worshipped in truth except Him. Subhanahu amma yushrikun. Allah ta'ala, He says, and how far above is removed Allah from that which they associate with Him as partners. Now, ala kullin, we see here in this ayah, Allah ta'ala informs us that these individuals اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله. They had taken their monks and their rabbis as lords along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Adi bin Hatim رضي الله تعالى عنه, the Sahabi, لما سمع هذه الآية, when he heard this verse, قال, he said, يا رسول الله إنا لسنا نعبده. He said, oh Messenger of Allah, we used to didn't worship them. Right? When the Sahabi, he heard this ayah, he said, oh Messenger of Allah, we used to didn't worship them. And this is a good example here too, to show you how, in order to understand the Qur'an properly, we have to return back to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can't go on our intellects, because this Sahabi, Adi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Adi bin Hatim, he was extremely intelligent. Extremely intelligent. Now, extremely intelligent. However, he still had to refer back to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to understand his verse correctly. Right? So he said, O Messenger of Allah, we didn't used to worship them. فَقَالَ لَهُ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, أَلَيْسُ يُحِلُّونَ مَا حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ فَتَحِلُّونَهُ وَيُحَرِّمُونَ مَا أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ فَتُحَرِّمُونَهُ. He said, did they not used to make permissible that which Allah has made haram, and then you all deem it to be permissible? Did they not used to make haram that which Allah has made halal, and then you all deem it to be haram? Qala bala. He said, naam, of course. He said, of course, certainly. Qala Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu, he said what? فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةٌ. He said, then that was your worship of them. That was how they were worshipped. Right? So obeying individuals when they tell you that something is haram that Allah has made halal is tantamount to what? Worshipping them. So the West says that ta'addud is what? Illegal. To have more than one wife. The West is say it's illegal. So as Muslims, what are we supposed to say about it now? We say that what? It's permissible, it's halal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made it halal. So it's halal. So you can have more than one wife, up to 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Naam. It's permissible. Part of our deen. We don't shy away from it. Right? We don't be like some people, they saying, but you're in America, so you gotta respect the laws of the land. Right? You got to respect the laws of the land. Naam, the Muslim is always respectful. Always. But when something goes against the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we have more respect for the truth. So now, because you're in America, you can't take more than one wife? Take more than one wife. Because that's the truth. There's no disrespect to anything. Why? Because we have more respect for the truth. America, they say that pork is okay, it's legal. You can buy it anywhere. You can't get arrested, can't get charged for eating pork, selling pork. Right? But pork is what? It's haram. So for us as Muslims, what's our standpoint with it, with the pork? Can we eat it? No, we can't say, oh, we in America, so we can eat ham now. No. It's Allah's deen no matter where you at in the galaxy. No matter where you at. You could be in Andromeda galaxy, whatever. If they got pig there, you can't eat it. Period. That's it. Right? But person say, I'm in America, so I can sell it now, right? No. It's haram. To sell it is what? Haram. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it haram. Naam. This is a serious issue that's connected to Tawheed. The Shaykh, he says, وقال الشيخ عبد الرحمن بن حسن رحمه الله تعالى في هذا الحديث دليل على أن طاعة الأحبار ورهبان في معصية الله عبادة لهم من دون الله. We said in this hadith is a clear proof that obeying the monks and the rabbis and that which entails disobedience to Allah is tantamount of worshipping them or equates to worshipping them other than Allah. وَمِنَ الشِّرْكِ الْأَكْبَرِ, and this is from the major shirk. So when we talk about this issue of tashri', of legislation, infringements upon it is from what? Major shirk. It's not minor shirk. This is major shirk. And I want to remind you of something. Major shirk and minor shirk have been named al-akbar and al-asghar, not from the standpoint that al-asghar is saghir, not from the standpoint that the minor shirk is small, but no, from the standpoint that the minor shirk is small as comparison to major shirk. But in reality, it itself, the minor shirk, is still something that is great, because even the minor shirk is worse than the other sins. So minor shirk is worse than murder. Minor shirk is worse than intoxicants, taking intoxicants. Minor shirk is worse than fornication. You understand what I'm saying? A man stand up and he starts showing off with his actions. He starts showing off, doing things to dazzle and the people and stuff like that. Even though he started it off for Allah. He started it off for Allah, but then he starts trying to add to it and beautify it to impress the people. That's worse than him picking up a prostitute for the night. I want you to understand that. That's worse than him having sexual intercourse with his mother. It's worse. A man slaughtered for a jinn. That's worse than him killing the whole village. It's worse. So this affair, and not to confuse anything, the first example of showing off, that's what? Minor shirk. Slaughtering for a jinn is major shirk. Okay? But even showing off is worse than killing the whole village. Worse than killing the whole village. Because minor shirk is worse than all of the other major sins. The only thing that trumps it is what? Major shirk. So this should give us an understanding that shirk is bad news. Shirk is bad news. So infringements in this particular area of tashri', then this is from the bab of what? Major shirk. Major shirk. So this is what from the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst things that a human being can do. It is from that shirk, and the Shaykh, he says, it's from the major shirk that Allah don't forgive. It's from that shirk that Allah doesn't forgive. Because Allah doesn't forgive shirk. Yeah. The Shaykh, he goes on to say, وَبِقَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى فِي آخِرِ الْآيَةِ, and inside of his statement, the statement of the Most High in the end of the verse, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا إِلَهًا وَاحِدًا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ سُبْحَانَهُ عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ, and they were not commanded except to worship one ilah. Nothing has a right to be worshipped in the truth except for him, and he is far above and removed from that which they associate with him as partners. The Shaykh, he says, وَالنَّذِيرُ ذَلِكَ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى, and that which is similar to this statement is Allah Ta'ala's statement, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرْ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ, and do not eat from that which Allah's name has not been mentioned upon it. وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ, because verily it is a despicable sin. إِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ, verily the devils, لَيُوحُونَ إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَائِهِمْ لِيُجَادِلُوكُمْ, that the devils, they whisper to their human companions so that they may argue with you. The shayateen give these evil whispers to their counterparts from the human beings, to these human shayateen, giving them what? Arguments to argue with you, doubts to throw at you, and so on and so forth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَإِنْ أَطَعْتُمُوهُمْ إِنَّكُمْ لَمُشْرِكُونَ, and if you were to obey them, then verily you are polytheists. If you obey them, then you're polytheist. نعم. طيب. The Shaykh says, وَهَذَا وَقَعَ فِيهِ كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ مَعَ مَنْ قَلِدُوهُ. He said, in this you find a lot of the people, they've fallen into it, along with those who follow them blindly. لِعَدَمَ اِعْتِبَارُهُ, and this is due to them not having a concern. لِعَدَمَ اِعْتِبَارِهِمْ الدَّلِيلِ إِذَا خَالَفَ الْمُقَلَّدِ, and this is because they don't have any concern, they don't pay no consideration to the proofs and the evidences if it contradicts the person that they blind follow. If it contradicts that which they blind follow, they don't want to hear about it. Right? It's like when you speak to these foolish ones who calling for modernization and democracy and so on and so forth, and you recite the ayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they don't want to hear it. They hit you back, no, brother, but we need freedom. Well, what do you think will make you free? Islam. What Allah revealed was makes you free. But you see, that's not what they mean by freedom. They mean by freedom what the kuffar mean by freedom. Because you know what the kuffar mean by freedom, right? Their concept of freedom is what? Freedom, but they know how to listen to Allah. That's what they call freedom. Do what you want to do. That's what they call freedom. Halal wa haram, what they think, what they feel. Right? And some of us, we know kuffar. We may have kuffar in our family. And you find that they're from the most despicable of the people. Nah, it's the haq. We're not scared to say that. The kuffar, even the ones in our family, from the most despicable of the people. And you may know what they do, and the evil that they commit, from the shirk and the kufr, right? All the despicable things that they're doing. But then they turn around and tell you, but I'm a good person. How? How are you a good person? And you're praying to all these things other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not a good person. But I'm a good person. You lie, you cheat, you steal, take intoxicants. But you're a good person. How? Based on whose standard? Well, I think I'm a good guy. Okay. Some people think they can fly until they jump off the building and realize that's not the case. Ala kulli hal. A lot of people fall into this thing, and when they're so caught up in the blind following and not being connected to the proofs and the evidence and so on and so forth, you find this. And this brings up another point too, about the people of innovation. Is that the people of innovation, they don't call the people and encourage them to attach themselves to the proofs and the evidences. They don't instill that in the people. They don't instill that in the people. You will have a mubtadi' and he'll give a whole lecture. And you don't hear no ayat, you don't hear no ahadith. Right? Give a whole khutbah. You don't hear no ayat, you don't hear no ahadith. All of this, you don't hear none of that stuff. No ayat, no ahadith. Why? They don't want to connect the people to the proofs and the evidences. They don't encourage the people to obey Allah, to obey the Prophet ﷺ. They don't encourage the people to cling tenaciously to the Kitab and the Sunnah. They don't encourage the people with this. The reason is obvious, because what they are upon has no proof for it. And they know if you attach the people to the proof, then eventually they're going to leave us because they're going to realize we don't have any proof for what we're saying. And they're going to realize that the proof is actually against what we're doing. So they try to avert the people from the truth. Right? But the aversion of the people from the truth is a key aspect of this problem. Why the people not having a concern for the dalil when it goes against the person that they're blind following. If you don't have a connection for the truth and your connection is only for this sheikh and so on and so forth, now it makes you susceptible of falling victim to this. Now is that something you want to fall victim to? No way. Something that's extremely serious. And it shows you a danger. This is what the people of innovation instill within their people. This is how they rear their followers. Everything is about the sheikh. Think about the Wafdi Muhammad community. Everything's about what? The Imam. The Imam said. The Imam said. The Imam said. The Imam said. Your Imam didn't know a alif from a ba from a ya. Ya Salaam. That's all you telling me your Imam? What about what Allah said? What about what the Prophet ﷺ said? What about that? What about the way of the Salaf? What about what Abu Bakr or Uthman or Umar said? What about that? You want to tell me what your Imam said? No proof, no evidence? But the Imam said is okay. The Imam gave a ruling saying women don't gotta wear khimar. The Imam said the man don't gotta grow his beard. The Imam said. You think serious? But that's what they attach to. That's enough for them. The Imam said. But then when you bring them proofs and evidences, yeah, I respect that, brother. But you know the Imam said. And you can keep going on and on and on and on from these people of innovation. They attach the people to what? To personalities. They attach them to personalities. See, Ahlul Sunnah, we are not attached. We can never be attached to personalities. Period. Allah has given us a methodology. Allah has given us a methodology. We have the Qawa'id Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. We're not attached to personalities. Individuals are subject to error. Individuals are subject to go astray. I want you to listen closely to what I'm saying. Individuals are subject to go astray. This is why the Salafy used to say, if you want to connect yourself to somebody, then connect yourself to those who's dead. Because they beyond being trial now. The one who's alive, he might change. How many people used to be Salafi, now they Hizbi? Used to be from Ahlul Sunnah, now they from Ahlul Bid'ah. So what are we supposed to say now? We connected to Ali Halabi because he studied with Sheikh Albani, or he lived around him for some years, because reality he was a Sheikh Albani student. We say we like this guy because he lived around Sheikh Albani for a lot of years, right? And he used to see him a lot, and he lived inside of Jordan, and he wrote this book, and I like his talk, and so now we connected to him and attached to him for what? The man go astray, then what happened? We leave him. That's it. He go astray, we leave him. Usama al-Qusi. People say, I like the way he talk in Arabic, and this, that, and that. So we attached ourselves. He just studied with Sheikh Mukbil. He wrote a book about the Adhan, and so on and so forth. So you attach to a personality. He come on TV channel. I saw him on a talk show, and he was doing this, and he was saying that, and he was da. So you attach to him for what? The man go astray, we leave him. Right? Hajuri, go astray, leave him. Fawzi al-Bahraini, go astray, leave him. Period. We're not attached to people. Falih al-Harabi, go astray, what do? Leave him. No one's still trying to hold on to him. No, get out of here. You want to go astray? Go. I ain't going with you. Right? Because this is the way of Ahlul Sunnah. We're not attached to personalities. We don't care who it is. We don't care who it is. A person says something contrary to the truth, they refute it, period. We don't care who it is. Because nobody is beyond reproach. Nobody has reached a level that we can't say nothing about him. No. It's like Imam Malik, rahimahullah ta'ala, said that everybody you take from his opinions and you leave except for the owner of this grave, and he pointed to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody else, what? You take from them and you can refute them. When they're wrong, we don't follow them. Mahma man can, whoever who he is. Why? Because we have more respect for the truth. This is something that's important. This is not something that exists on side of the paper. Allah forbid, if I come and I start saying something contrary to the book and the sunnah, you better not accept that from me. Period. You better pull my card and tell me, taqillah, that's wrong. This is not in accordance to the kitab and the sunnah. A man start acting funny, doing funny actions. You don't come out and say, okay, no, that's cool, that's my man's in there. No, if you truly love me, then you pull my card. You say, taqillah, what you doing sitting with the people of innovation? You don't sit back and say, oh, but alhamdulillah, he give talks about don't sit with the people of innovation. But then I'm actually out there doing it and sitting with the people of innovation. That's cool? Is that okay? That's acceptable? No. I don't care who it is. But I come and I say, yeah, but you know the sheikh like me. Does that mean anything? That gives me license now to go contrary to the book and the sunnah? That gives me license now to go contrary to the Qawaid al-Dawah Salafiyah? Could the sheikh like me? You think the Mashaykh used to ain't like Ali Halabi? You think the Mashaykh used to ain't like Usam al-Qusi? You think the Mashaykh used to ain't like Mustafa al-Adawi? You think the Mashaykh used to ain't like Abdis al-Badawi? You think the Mashaykh used to ain't like Hajuri? They used to like them, praise them, had good kalam for them. But when they changed, you see, ulama Ahlul Sunnah, they love the truth more. When they changed, then their speech about them changed. That's what you're doing now? Okay, now we're going to refute you. And this is, of course, after advice and being patient with them and trying and so on and so forth. But when they reach that point, okay, khalas, now, sit. That's it. And this shows you the integrity of Ahlul Sunnah. It shows you the integrity of Ahlul Sunnah. Is that their connection is to the truth. Even if their shaykh goes astray, their connection is not to their shaykh, their connection is to the truth. Because see, some Ahlul Bid'ah now, like on Ahya or Amwat, we should say Amwat.org, right? They'll come and they say, Ahlul Sunnah flip-flop. You talk good about him today, then you refute him tomorrow. Yes, if he showed us something good today, then we're going to be good about him. If he shows us he upon bid'ah tomorrow, then we're going to refute him tomorrow. Because we have more respect for the truth. We don't care what your name is. We don't care who said what about you. If you contrary to Dawah Salafiyah, you ain't safe. We coming after you. We're going to tell the people about what you're about so they stay away from you, period. No one is above reproach. No one is above reproach. If you have ulama that got refuted, if you have ulama that got refuted, how these guys walking around here think they're not going to get touched? Serious. We have our connection is to the proofs and the evidences. That's it. Even against ourselves. Even against ourselves. Person does something, you bring in the proof and the evidence. Then what are you going to say now? Astaghfirullah to. That's what you should say. Astaghfirullah, I was wrong. I said that, I was mistaken. I did that, I was wrong. That's it. There's no, you play, there's no playing to Abu Usama. Abu Usama, whom yaqulun al-Dhahabi. This is how he is. You find that people upon his way like this. Always got an excuse. Never can say they was wrong. No, see what had happened was. Speak bad about a Sahabi. Yeah, speak bad about him, but you see because what had happened was, then he lied. There's no excusing that. You're wrong. That's it. Man, translate for Ahlul Bid'ah. I'm just a translator. You translated for Ahlul Bid'ah. You translated for Yani Turafi Ikhwani. Talking about, I just was saying what he said. Are you kidding me? You're wrong. There's no justifying that. You think some fool come and he start opening his mouth and talking stuff in Arabic that's wrong? I'm going to be binded to translate what he said? No. Somebody come in here now telling you, Yani, connect yourself to Abdurrahman ibn Khalik and start praising Abdurrahman ibn Khalik and them, and I'm going to convey that to you? No way. I ain't telling you that. Period. You're going to see me escort that person out the masjid though, because he's not welcome here. Like it who like it, hate it who hate it. That's the way it is. We don't play them type of games. Because we have to be connected to what the proofs and the evidence is, even against ourselves. Period. Even if it's against ourselves. Period. This is why we study the Qawa'id. This is why we study the principles of Ahlul Sunnah, so that we can implement them. Not so we can study them and then now, oh, because I said it, now I can do anything I want to do, even if it's against the Qawa'id. Right? Because you find people like that. They mention something, right? And then the people who love him and attach to his personality are trying to use that as a proof. You imagine them as acting in a way contrary to Da'wah Salafiyah. But it's okay, he gave a class for Sharh al-Sunnah. Okay. What does that mean? That means that he should know better. Person, they come and say, it's okay, he teaches from al-Ha'iyya. Okay. Does that mean he should know better? That don't give him a pass. Now it's going to make us even more on his neck. Now he should know better. But if I was come and say, no, it's cool, because you know. No. People acting in contrary to the dalil is not cool, period. It's not cool, period. If we're not going to follow Imam Malik when he made a mistake, how are we going to follow less than him when he make a mistake? We're not going to follow. Would you follow Imam Shafi'i if he made a mistake? No. What about Imam Ahmed if he made a mistake? No. Abu Hanif, if he makes a mistake, you going to follow him? No. Imam Malik? No. And these are from our Imam. These are from the Imams. These are from the Imams. So how much more so now a person who is nowhere even near their level? Ala kulli hal, this shows you the integrity of Ahlul Sunnah is that what? Is that we stick to the truth. So if a person is upon, show us one thing today, then he show us something tomorrow, then our speech is going to be inappropriate to what we see from that person, who has reached us from that person. You know? This is what Sheikh Muhammad Bahadi mentioned. He said we speak about people based upon what we know. That's it. He was commenting how when Abu Hassan Ma'nabi, he came and he was lying, because he was a liar. And he was lying to the Mashaykh of Medina, putting forth a good face and so on and so forth. So they took him on what they saw. But then, like right after that, he started his other face came out, and his true face, and then it reached the Mashaykh what he had said in his reality. So then they changed just that fast. They saw he came, he showed us this, and he said this. Now it's reaching us that he's actually the opposite, and he was lying to us, and so on and so forth. So now what they said about him changed. And they started to refute him and so on and so forth. Because of what? The integrity of Ahlul Sunnah. Ahlul Sunnah has integrity. Ahlul Sunnah has integrity. Now, so don't listen to the people who say, no, you flip-flop. No, we have integrity. We go with the truth. Ala kulli hal, Shaykh, he says that these ones, they have no concern for the dalil. So if it goes against the one who they blind following, the Shaykh, he says, وهو من هذا الشرك. He said, and this one, this is shirk. Nah, this is from shirk. And that ends the speech of the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala. So Shaykh Salih Fawzan hafidhullah ta'ala goes on and he says, فالتزام شرع الله وترك شرع ما سواه. So we have to stick to the legislation of Allah, and we have to abandon that which is other than it. هو من مقتضى, because doing this, I want you to pay attention, because doing this, sticking to the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and abandoning that which is other than it is from that which is necessitated by La ilaha illallah. It is from that which is necessitated by La ilaha illallah. And then the Shaykh, he ends this chapter by saying, Wallahu al-musta'an, and the aid of Allah is sought. We seek Allah's aid, because we know we live in a time there's a lot of infringements upon this, and this is why we have to stress this and teach this and spread this, that as Muslims we have to go by the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to go by the book and go by the Sunnah, go by the Adillah, the proofs and the evidences as understood by the Salaf of this Ummah. Now, this is our way, and that's it. We have to follow the principles and the Qawa'id of the Da'wah Salafiyah, because Da'wah Salafiyah is Islam. Salafiyah is Islam. So we have to follow these principles of the da'wah and salafiyah, because that's how we're going to be successful. Anything other than that is that which will result in our destruction, which will result in our humiliation, which will result, as the Prophet ﷺ said, finnar, inside of the fire. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the fire, to make us of those who are upon the way of the sunnah, those who are implementing the sunnah as best as they possibly can, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us of those who die upon the Tawheed wa sunnah, and who are raised upon the Tawheed wa sunnah, and who meet Him with a Tawheed wa sunnah. Because these ones who meet Allah with Tawheed and sunnah, these are the people from Jannah. These are the people from the Jannah. These are the people from where? From the Jannah. فنكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.